Welcome
to the Bring Me to Life podcast.
It's time to wake up
and shine on. Hello. Welcome back to the Bring Me to Life podcast. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thanks for waking up and shining on with us. I'm Shannon Shine.
I'm Selomon.
Yes. So today we're going to dive into some sacred topics. We want to discuss divinity and the power of accessing your divinity. So, Sela, what does divinity mean to you?
Well, first off, I would like to say that we all have our own perspectives and we all probably have a different idea of the divine. So for anybody who this resonates with, then you probably have a similar idea of mine. But if you don't resonate with it, then you have a different idea. That's okay. Everybody doesn't have to have the same idea about it. To me, the divine is kind of like the Force in Star Wars, where it binds us, and it's in a way it's like saying God, because it's just the divine is a sacred thing. It's just sacred energy. It's so hard to describe, to be honest.
I understand. To me, it's that higher self. It's connecting and understanding that we as living beings have a deeper connection to the source that created us here. There's a lot of divinity talk in the chakras, and I'm on a chakra kick right now. I just finished a chakra challenge series of videos, which is basically just a series of videos of me talking about how I process the chakras. And we got to the crown chakra, and it was so beautiful to see so many people that were on that journey, and you, one of them, accessing their divinity in a different way. Mm-hmm. And not being afraid of the messages they receive from spirit and their deeper connection. Something that you love to talk about is channeling and connecting with channeling and bringing in that energy. And I think that's a really, really deep connection to the divine and using your inner divinity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we all channel the divine, and whether we're conscious of it or not. So it's something I've been doing, and I realize things from the past that it's like, oh wow, I was channeling totally that energy then. So I've been putting together a course on channeling the divine and creativity, divine creativity. So it's something that I'm really passionate about, and I think everybody has a connection to the divine. Everybody can deepen their connection to the divine with the tools that exist here on this planet right now.
Yeah, I think that's something that got left out of a lot of the, unfortunately, more common religious texts known as like the Bible, the current version of the Bible, mainly because I've been reading this book, and it was called Mary Magdalene Revealed, and it discussed the book of Mary that was left out of the current version of the Bible, and it expressed a different form of Jesus as we would know him, and that his true teachings were to share and express that we all had that connection, that he wasn't the sole Son of God that only had this ability himself. And in the book of Mary, she discusses that deeper divinity and that ability to connect through your soul to the source and to channel it. And then we do have all the religious texts in the Bible included where it's been channeled to these people through their divinity and their ability to witness their connection to source and not be afraid of it. I think that's a big part of it too, is being able to accept it and not think that you're crazy. Yeah.
it's a thing on earth. You start waking up and you start hearing or feeling or seeing or smelling all these different senses from different dimensions, and you start to believe, and then you start to understand different dimensions and how they work, and there's multiple timelines. There's an infinite amount of timelines.
Angels, and then there's like our higher selves, our future selves, our past selves, our ancestors.
So
all the different timelines. It gets to be a lot, and it can be overwhelming.
But we're not crazy.
But when you realize that you're a part of all of it, and that everything in a way can be true. And that's one thing I think is really important in the spiritual community, is to not necessarily dismiss anybody's perspective. We're not here to say one way is the path. That's why you gave a nice disclaimer at the beginning. If this doesn't resonate for you, that's fine. But for us, channeling is something that people can do to access their inner divinity. Some other things that I feel like people connect with is the breath work and journaling. I used a lot of journaling practices in my chakra challenge and in my upcoming chakra course. You're going to have some journals in yours too, I believe.
Yeah, definitely, because writing is a big part of art. And, I love writing,
Well, there's a lot of people who get that call and response with writing. I believe that's how so many books in religious texts have been written, is they've just started writing. I have different people in my family that would start writing letters, and me included. I found some the other day where I had started to write letters and communicate with my mom and my uncle in spirit after they passed away. And they channeled a message that I must have written out and printed and given to my grandmother, and my aunt just recently went through things and gave it back. And I was like, wow, they wrote that. That wasn't me. Like, I channeled it. I went through the effort of putting it into the physical, but that was their message. It wasn't my words. And to have that belief system is you have to understand that it's okay to receive messages. It's kind of sad how many of us have pushed to the side the ability to connect deeper because we don't want to come off crazy for the voices in our heads or our hearts.
Well, people in this world growing up, we get made fun of a lot. And so it builds up, our program builds this system of not wanting to share these, I'm trying to think of the word, intimate, vulnerable things that probably more people than not resonate with. You're just not surrounded by those people if that's what you've experienced.
I think that's a big part of it. In the book I was reading that expresses Mary's perspective of it, Peter questions her. He asks her for her version of the story, being Jesus's basically female counterpart, divine female counterpart. He gives her supposedly knowledge, but if you imagine, they were probably just discussing within each other. They were just learning between each other. It wasn't that he was trying to give just her the knowledge and not the other disciples. But Peter says, why would he give you this knowledge, a woman, and not us, his brothers and disciples? So in that text, it discusses because a woman is a lesser sex, but it comes to be now that if anybody declares that they're connecting with angels or spiritual beings, like it is kind of awkwardly looked upon, and I'm done with it. I think it's becoming more widely accepted now. I've noticed a lot more people being willing to express when they've connected with an angel, they've seen a feather, they've felt spirit, they felt someone or something bigger than them. And it needs to be more talked about. We need to have these discussions. We need to journal it and keep track of it. There's even people that are starting to channel and express more galactic beings as well, which I think are just versions of our energy in a different timeline.
Versions of the divine.
Because energy can't be created or destroyed. So what it is this polarity. And again, this is just kind of my perspective from understanding and connecting with spirit in my own divine right. Sarah Hall just did an episode on Through the Eyes of the Angels, and it was on connecting with the higher self, wasn't it?
Discovering the higher self. Discovering
the higher self. One of the things that stuck out to me in that episode was she really hit on the fact that it's important for us all to accept this. It reminded me of
accept that we have a higher self.
Well, yeah, it reminded me of a Mary Williamson quote that I shared in a different podcast. That's along the lines of, "Who are we not to be?
Yeah.
Who are you not to be your best self, your most powerful divine self to connect with God?" Mm-hmm. It's important to access that divinity.
Who the fuck are you not to be that awesome person that we all need in this world?
Yes, you should be channeling the Force like a baby Yoda and being adorably awesome and showing up in the world.
I think there were so many Baby Yoda memes. It was kind of getting to be a lot until we saw them, some of the episodes.
But he's adorable. But he uses the Force, and he uses his innocence to welcome the abilities that he has later in life that we know and love. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting. So you have created this divinity course in a way.
Mm-hmm. It's called Divine Expression and Creativity, Channeling Through Meditation, Art, and Music. It's a 5-week course where we will be learning tips, tricks, and techniques on channeling creativity, and
Nice.
being able to express it. Because life is a paradox. We are all one, in my perspective. We're all one. We're all connected. But we're all unique. We're all different. So there's a reason for that. Mm-hmm. And you can channel God. So you've done a lot of paint parties where people paint the same exact picture. Mm-hmm. But even though they're all painting the same exact picture, each one comes out a little bit differently because we're all a little unique in this dimension, that we have individual perspectives. We're all antennas, but the channel comes through differently. So, maybe your idea is not the most original, but what matters is that it's the most authentic. Mm-hmm. Because people can do the same thing as you, but nobody can do it the way that you can.
I think that's really key right now, because so many people are tapping into this collective consciousness, and we're all getting very similar downloads, as I like to call them. It's like it goes out in this wave of informational understanding. Like when I started paint parties, it was just barely a thing. And then all of a sudden, everybody was doing some form of that in the same area. And then it's very similar with lots of other habits in situations, and even different types of speech. You'll hear a slang word and instantly it's everywhere because it goes in a wave. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how you see it in that meme culture. Like you said, like Baby Yoda started, he was real small, and then Disney Plus came out and it was like, wham, bam, here's this huge wave of Disney download, and everybody was on that frequency. So right now what we're in is this download of accessing your divine energy. And I think that is magical to see how many people are deciding to wake up and shine on and tap into that connection, whether it's through creating art or meditation. What are some other ways that you connect with the divine? We know you really love meditation. So maybe you could even lead us in like a quick connection meditation.
Sure. Let's go ahead and close our eyes for a second and do a meditation on connecting with the divine. Just begin to breathe deeply, accepting any feelings, thoughts, or emotions that flood into your awareness. Just accept it and let it all go. And understand that you are not just your thoughts. You are not just your feelings. You are more than just your emotions. And so as we accept all of those things, they begin to slow down, revealing more and more of our true selves, our divine selves. Take a moment to go deep within yourself, all the way to the very center, connecting with your divinity. When you are ready, begin to focus on your breath. Allow that to bring you back out of the meditation. When you are ready, you can wiggle your toes and fingers and open your eyes. That was just a very short little meditation. Hope you all enjoyed it. I'd love to hear any thoughts on that.
Yes, please leave us a comment wherever you're listening. If you can't leave us a comment wherever you're listening, find us on Facebook. Our Facebook right now is actually Project Bring Me to Life, and we would love to hear from you. We have the Bring Me to Life Challenge Facebook group, or Bring Me to Life Tribe, whatever it's called at the time. And and we would just love to hear from you guys. That's your space to talk about all the things we talk about here, to build that community. It's been building. It's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced a lot more community growth through Facebook groups. It was really, really magical to see how many people reacted to the meditations that I got to lead during the chakra challenge that I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are nice.
I felt like I've come a long way in my meditation journey. You've really helped me connect there with that. I definitely meditated before, in a sense that I connected to divinity through my art, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
Art has been an anchor for me in my connection ever since for as long as I can remember. I would draw pictures and try to express what I was seeing and feeling to that deeper connection to my family. And it didn't always make sense to them, but sometimes I think I even surprised them, because I channeled it to the point that I felt like sometimes it wasn't me creating the image. And that's where a lot of really divine pieces of art have come. Not that my art is all divine or anything, but like people who create...
I think it's all divine.
Thanks. People that create art go into that meditative state. Like, that was my safe space to be one with the energy that made me. And for a long time, I wanted to take that deeper. It was like I had the image, but I didn't know how to channel it as fluidly or detailed as I would like. And it also felt like, because I didn't have a solid standard I don't know if standard meditation practice is a term.
Consistent?
Yeah, like a consistent meditation practice. It was like, though I was connecting and the messages would come, because my personality is so fast paced, I would feel like I had to channel the imagery out right then and there, or I was going to lose it. So I would put out the art, and it wouldn't necessarily be as detailed. It would be very kind of line work, imagery, doodles in a way. And now I've been working on a lot more, for me, elaborate pieces. I've seen some pieces that are just so immaculate I couldn't begin to describe the layers.
Definitely don't compare yourself to others. That's a huge thing, and as part of the program, I gotta say, just let go of any comparisons, because I think we're all different. Key.
But I've accepted that, and that's what I'm saying is, well, what I'm going at is, a part of that journey has been even the ability to put as much as I have now has, I believe, come from the meditation practices that you've instilled in me. Because without meditating, I wouldn't have the same ability to channel those visions to the canvas or the paper or whatever it is I'm making. And I've been seeing these other artists that are also really, really connected. Again, everybody can be connected. Everyone is connected. But there's just some that you can see, they tap into that frequency on such a different level. And I think that your course is going to really help people channel that ability, because I've seen it through my own perspective of how important it is to meditate before you dive into a lot of creative processes, or maybe not every time, but how it can affect it, I should say.
Yeah. People don't realize that even 5 to 10 minutes before starting something can be huge. It can save a lot of time, because you're more focused, you're more open, your channels are more clear, and, yeah. Love meditation.
What else is coming up in your course?
Well, we have some activities that we're doing. I have a few writing games that we'll be doing. I'm teaching about music, so we're going to be using music to channel the divine, and that includes a drum circle where we'll all have an instrument, a drum or whatever, and really get into this channel. And I think drum circles are a great way of a trance channel, which means you start very slowly, and more as time goes on, your ego takes a back seat to this playing music, and you just allow the energy of the divine to channel through you while you're drumming. And it happened one time when I was in Detroit at one of the Dr. Bob's drum circles, and I ripped off my shirt. I started drumming as loud and fast as I could, and started chanting about Krishna as loud and as crazy as I could. And I just, my whole ego was taking a back seat, and I was just witnessing this coming through me, and it felt so good, and it was so powerful, and it was such a divine moment.
I love it. I love it. Drum circles can definitely be a magical experience. Music in general is such a magical way to connect with divine or sacred, bigger than you type energy. I think that's why it's so important to really kind of monitor the type of music that you take into your frequency. That's why we put together the Bring Me to Life Radio, which involves all high vibrational, inspirational, like positive type music.
It's funny. Sometimes I try to go and look for music somewhere, and a lot of it is not nearly as just feels good as what comes through that radio station.
Well, yeah. I mean, I try to listen to since we DJ, I try to listen to more popular things every now and then, or like the top whatever. And it's also negative. People getting shot, people doing drugs, people blowing up things and leaving each other, and breakups. And it's just like, why do you want to listen to that and program your brain with that? That sounds terrible. But the music itself can be like upbeat, and it almost sounds happy, but the things that they're actually singing about are terrible things.
Yeah. I like some of the popular music that, has a message that I resonate with. And but there's a lot of music out there, so you have a lot of choices. I would recommend you check out Bring Me Life Radio.
Bring Me to Life Radio.
Just search that. Bring Me, the number 2 Life Radio on whatever you're listening to this
with
on.
The number 2. The number 2. But so music is a great way to connect with the divinity and raise your vibration. That's why I used music in the beginning of my chakra challenge and at the end. I started using it at the beginning and the end, the little dance parties, because it makes me feel good. So I feel like I'm pumped up and ready, but it makes other people feel good to see expression. So when people dance or move their body or call and respond to music or chants or whatever, it invokes a response into other beings. And that, I think, is also divinity, something that can get a response in a powerful way. That's why they say when speakers move you, like, how do they make you feel? They're channeling some sort of divine message.
Yeah. Do you think you're gonna start off any of your speeches with a little dance party when you get on stage and you have a big crowd of people?
Oh, probably. I think so. I think it would be great. I actually witnessed a speaker or another healer in a way do that too. I've been doing dance parties at the beginning of my shows for a little while now, but I thought it was funny because I'm in a smaller town where I don't see a whole lot of community dancing on the level I wish I did. And the speaker came out, and I like to say Oprah style, made us all like kind of get up and dance and like wanted us all to clap our hands. And it was just so kind of cute, but also very interesting to see how stiff so many people in the audience were. Cause I just wanted to be like, yeah, let's raise this vibration so this person can talk to these higher beings. And this is great. And like, it made so much sense to me, but everyone else was scared. And I was like, they're also scared to connect with their inner divinity. And I realize it more and more too, because I used to be afraid to dance and to sing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking about that last night when you were dancing. Like, you used to
remember how afraid I was when you first got here to dance or do anything?
You would stand on the sidelines, watch everybody else dance.
And it was because I was scared of what people thought, but I also was disconnected from that part of the physical divinity connection. And I think that I've been processing through it a lot with my own chakra work. And, that was a big part of my chakra course creation. And the challenge is birth was to bring out the ability to release any more fear, guilt, shame, grief, lies, and then to build that deeper connection to messages and channeling and releasing attachment to the physical, which I think obviously is the hardest one for so many of us. It's why the crown chakra is the crown chakra. And it's this divine connection, is being willing to not be afraid to connect and channel your most beautiful, happiest, majestic self.
Love it.
Yeah, me too. So you've got a course coming out. How can people find that course?
bringme2life.com. You scroll down. It is right under classes and events tab. And it says divine expression and creativity.
Nice. And I've got a course coming out on chakras. You can check out my free content on the Chakra Challenge in my Facebook group, also found in the Bring Me to Life Facebook group. And this one might be short and sweet, but I think that it's been a great discussion. I hope you guys have enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else you want to share?
I want to share that it is such a good feeling to be here at this special time in this sacred year of Earth, and it feels like things are picking back up again. I'm excited to get Bring Me to Life rolling again after my program gets going. And,
yes.
Do more episodes on the podcast, on the radio, and get more people involved. That's what I think this year will be, is get more people involved and then getting kicked off. I think one of our goals will be getting a van.
Yeah.
And being able to travel and bring Me to Life where we go.
Yeah, that would be great. You can help make that vision come to life. You can bring that to life by being a Patreon.
Yeah,
joining our Patreon. We have exclusive episodes on there. My favorite one called Shannon Loves to Learn. It's got some music in the background, but we're also working on just other content. I got some card readings that are exclusively on the Patreon.
The sound healing.
We have a sound healing. I think we're going to try to do some meetups and things if we get people interested. So we're not talking to just ourselves, because we do enough of that on podcasts. But yeah, so if you've listened to this episode, there is a quote or something that stuck out to you, or you would like to give us a testimonial, we would love that too. You may even see it featured on one of our social medias. And until next time, I hope you guys stay awake and shine on always.
Later, gators.
Bye.
For many of us, spirituality is just the quest to find essence or true meaning, and to really just connect with a higher consciousness.
Connecting with your spirituality is very important in this life. By becoming mindful of all of it, you can realize where you are and if that is leading you to where you want to go.
Listen to the little simple things, because it's those little simple things that are going to shift you vibrationally in such a way that will prepare you to become very intuitively minded and ready to step forward on the next part of your path.
I hope you can feel the love that's inside you, it's inside me, that connects us.
Thanks for shining on with us.